Hey, it's Trueflight here. We're back in Star Trek Online again, taking a look at another one of my ships in my fleet. This one's probably my favorite, is the Cardassian Keldon Class. Actually just picked this up. I've had a Galar class forever. Isn't a heck of a lot of difference as far as the ships go in the game. This one comes with some perks since it's a tier 6 ship and came with a really cool console, but stat-wise I think they're identical ships. They just have this extra piece on top of here and these extra fins on the back that make a Galar into a Keldon. But we're going to take her out, take a look at what she's equipped with, and blow some stuff up. So again with this one, same as with my Dreadnought, I'm going with a 7 beams and the cutting beam. I just like that loadout. If you can see here, if you zoom out, it'll show you the fire arcs. So your beams have this 250-degree fire arc around the ship. The rear ones have it as well. So if you can keep your enemy in the spot where they overlap, you can bring all 8 weapons to bear, which does a lot of damage. It does drain a lot of power, so you'll notice our power here is off the scale. This one's actually set a little low because I'm still playing around with settings. Usually I like to keep them around 120. That way when you're firing all 8 weapons at once, the power drain doesn't drop you down too far. So onto the ship here. You can see it, we've got our 7 beams. This one we're using the spiral wave disruptor beams. They actually come with the ship in the Galar, and then once you get like 3 of them, 4 of them I think with the ship. Once you have the ship unlocked, you can buy them from the dilithium store. I think they're 35,000. Look it up. What they're under. Maybe you can't do it from here. Maybe you have to be on the ground. There we go. Spiral wave disruptors are 43,000 dilithium. And you can see there the difference between, they come at Mark 12, I think. They're listed as the infinity symbol, but I'm pretty sure they're Mark 12, and then you boost them up. So you can see the difference there between the ones I have equipped and the way they come. So they do boost up nice. They are the best disruptors I've been able to come across. There's a new one from the Nausicaan set, which is nice, but it falls just short of what these end up being in the end. The only thing I don't like about them is the damage times 2 isn't as nice. Would love to see some crit severity or things on there, crit damage. But they do their part. 558 on the actual weapon for DPS when you look at them on the ship with all of our bonuses. 1197 DPS, which is nice. Again, we have a cutting beam on the back just because I'm not running torpedoes. I like that added kinetic damage. And it's 608 DPS on the weapon. On the ship itself, we're looking at 1300 DPS, which is just too nice to pass up. As for the rest of our stuff on there, right now I am running the Soul set on here. I really like it because of the discharge repair Nanite setup. Not the greatest. I'm going to replace it probably with the Iconian set. I said the same thing about the Dreadnought, but I do really like the Iconian set. I just haven't gotten around to getting them because I've been saving up for other stuff. I don't have any decent warp core. This was the best one I had, so I just threw it on there. As far as consoles go, of course, we have our fleet vulnerability locators. This ship, we only have 3 tactical slots, so we had to make them count. These ones are epic. I got 2 of them up, and the 3rd one's on its way. But you see the extra, what is it, 2%, 2.5% bonus for going epic. For our science consoles, we have the Nausicaan Siphon console capacitor. Sorry, this one came as part of that new Nausicaan set. As I said, the weapon wasn't the greatest, but the torpedoes actually do disruptor damage for that set too. So if you're looking for torpedoes, I don't run them on this ship, but that one's a nice alternative. This actually does give us a power transfer bonus, a drain expertise bonus. Most importantly, though, we get that extra disruptor damage bonus, which basically counts as having an extra tactical console, which is nice. Next, we have our Hydrodynamics Compensator. This one's a universal. It's on there mostly for the turn rate bonus. We also get a little bit of engine and auxiliary power out of it, and the bonus weapons accuracy. Anything above 100% accuracy, or whatever the limit is there, starts boosting critical chance, so that's always nice. But mostly, like I said, it's here for the turn rate. Ship isn't really that slow, but it helps. Next, we have Bioneural Infusion Circuits. This one's here for the hull capacity is nice. The control expertise is okay. The 21% crit severity is very nice. Of course, we have a Plasmonic Leech. It'd be silly not to run one of those now. Bioneural Gel Packs are on here for the shield capacity and the reduction of bridge officer ability time, cooldown times. 7% on that's pretty nice. And then the 2% to all your power systems is nice too. Of course, we have the assimilated module. That one's pretty much a must-have if you're running the cutting beam, which we are. The crit bonus is okay. The crit severity is nice. The extra regen and things are nice as well. The weapon power bonus is nice. All kinds of things on there. You also get the 2-piece set bonus for having this and the cutting beam on there. The universal regenerative integrity field here is a pretty cool one. Basically, it's a massive hull heal, and then it also gives you 100% of your directed energy damage is healing for the next 20 seconds. Sorry, and then you have a bunch of other bonuses on there as well. Pretty nice little thing. And then finally, this is actually a console that came with the Keldon class. Probably the biggest reason to buy a Keldon is for the Spiral Wave Disruptor Lance. It works very similar to the Galaxy X's Phaser Lance, except this one's a console instead of a part of the ship. And it's forward-facing only weapon, which is probably its only drawback. But it does a decent amount of damage. You can see on here it also boosts our disruptor energy weapons by 20%, which is very nice since we're running all disruptors. Gives you a cooldown bonus 12% on your Intel Bridge Officer's abilities. This ship does have an Intel slot, which I'm currently not using as a Science Officer in there because they actually just picked the ship up the other day, so I haven't done much with it. I'm still running the loadout and setup that I had on my Galer, so I really gotta find a nice Intel thing to throw on there to make use of that slot and that bonus. The weapon itself on here does a 14,950 disruptor damage. That's unmodified. That's the weapon itself. It does a lot more than that with all the other bonuses on there. Come down here. I don't know if it'll tell us on here. Yeah, we're looking at 32,069 damage on there. And very nice. For those who don't know, the Spiral Wave Disruptors, the big thing that separates them from the regular Disruptor is you not only get the normal proc bonus effect from Disruptors, but it has a built-in bonus of the, what do they call them? The phasers as well. So it has the phaser proc and the Disruptor proc. They are considered Disruptor weapons, so only Disruptor consoles and things will boost them. But they have both procs on there, which is nice. For our devices, we're just running the various turrets I've picked up. I rarely use them. They're over here on the sidebar. And that's pretty much it for the basic setup. As I said, the nice thing about this over the Galer had up to tier 4. I think these are actually even the same bonuses across the board. Extra hull, extra resistance. I think one of these is a hull regeneration, and then more resistance. The final one here is a nice one. We'll get into that when we get to the traits. For skills, this is again what I was pretty much talking about on the Dreadnought. I love maxing out the science because that probability manipulation is an amazing ability. These last three make it even better. And then a various amount things over here to bonus crit damage, crit severity, and whatnot, penetration. And then I think we have a hull capacity over here. Yeah, that was just extra points that were left over at the end. That's not what we wanted. We want traits. There we go. So for our space traits, running quite a odd assortment on this one. We have Techie, which improves our hull restoration and damage control skills. Lets us heal and regenerate faster, basically. Beam Barrage, which is a must on anything that's got a beam loadout. Elusive increases our defense. Not sure that one's going to stick around. It's kind of a temporary for now on there. Shield Tech, extra 10 to your shield capacity, which is nice. Nanite Repair Matrix, which is a nice one. It when your hull drops below 50%, it activates and basically gives you a big heal. Kind of cool. Innocuous lowers your threat generation while increasing your crit severity. Beam Training, again, a must-have on a beam-based ship. Bulkhead Technician boosts our hull to go with our shield boost that we have. Imposing Presence boosts our outgoing hull healing, but it also boosts the threat generation. A lot of times I'm alone, so threat generation really doesn't mean much. If I'm in a group, that one kind of gets cycled out usually. Usually with the, I can't think of the name of it, but the one that boosts your damage output based on the size of the group you're in. And then finally we have Operative, which is a bonus to crit chance and crit severity. For Starship Traits, we have improved predictive algorithms, which I believe comes from the temporal line. And it, whenever you activate a buff or things that boost up your weapons, like our Fire at Will triggers it, as well as a bunch of other things, it gives us a 5% accuracy for 30 seconds, could stack up to 4 times, and it also removes debuffs on our ship, which is nice. Emergency response, whenever taking damage, when we're 50% or less of our health, it reduces the recharge time on our hull and shield bridge officer abilities, which are nice. And we have subsystem redundancies. When firing beam overload 1, 2, or 3, or a spinal lance, it'll trigger a shield heal, a shield hardness buff, and restore our shields if they're offline. I don't really have too much on here that can trigger that. I'm not even sure if the lance triggers, it counts as the spinal lance. We're not running beam overload, so it's kind of a filler right now. I wanted to see if the spiral wave lance would trigger it. And I am possibly looking at running beam overload because I like it, but it also drains a massive amount of power, and with the amount of weapons we're using, generally the Fire at Will works better than overload, but still something I'm tweaking with and trying to decide. And then our final one here is the improved critical systems, which is the one that actually comes from this ship. And whenever you're using an emergency power bridge officer, you gain a critical damage and critical chance bonus for a short time. They don't stack, but they reset every time you use one of those bonuses. Again, this is something I'm playing with because I don't have a lot of emergency power right now. I think shields is the only one I have on here. So that's one of them I'm playing around with. I just got it with the ship, so it's something I'm playing with to see. For space rep, we have reactive ship repairs. Whenever you hit a critical hit, you receive a hull heal over time. It can only occur once every 20 seconds, but with the amount of damage we're pulling out and the amount of times we crit, it triggers pretty much every time it's up, which is nice. Next, you have Fortified Hull. Increases your maximum hull. Enhanced rendering shots is every time you land a non-critical hit, you receive a bonus towards a crit chance. And it stacks up to 10 times, I believe, so you can get up to a 15% crit chance, which is nice. Resets when you finally get a critical, but then it starts building up again, so that was kind of cool. And of course our Omega Graviton Amplifier, which gives us that chance at kinetic damage on all of our weapons. It's only a 2.5% chance, but it's an extra 750 kinetic damage with 100% shield penetration. And it works on any of our directed energy attacks, which pretty much every weapon we have on board is. So we're firing 8 of those. They fire in 3-round bursts, I think, or 4-round bursts. So the chances of that triggering off works really well, and that extra kinetic damage is nice since we're not running torpedoes. And our active reputation down here, of course, we've got the Biomolecular Shield Generator, which puts up that big bubble that gives you shield regeneration and reduces damage to your shields. The only penalty to that is you pretty much have to be stationary or moving extremely slow to stay within the area of effect of the shield. But definitely useful, one of the better ones out there. Again, we have Refracting Tetryon Cascade, which is a short-range beam weapon that bounces from target to target, and you can hit multiple guys with it. It does a minimal amount of damage, but it's not too bad. And then, of course, we have Quantum Singularity Manipulation, which is that one that lets you basically cloak while still being able to fire all your weapons. Kind of a nice to get out of there if you're surrounded or things like that. If you need a second to heal yourself, you put that up, and it makes people extremely hard to shoot at you, if they can at all, for I think it's only 3 seconds. It's not very long. But actually, it's a 5-second cloak after the ability. So, but anyway, it gives you a interesting option there. Those are so far the best ones. I know there's some other ones. There's some new ones I don't have yet, but for now, those are the best I got. I think that's the same loadout of those I have on my Dreadnought as well. And that's pretty much it. That's how the ship is laid out. We'll take her out. See if we can't find something to blow up. What should we queue up for? I'm tired of fighting Borg. How about Klingons? We can kill lots and lots of Klingons. Anybody ever queues up for these? There we go. It's actually pretty fast. See how long it takes enough players to queue up to actually go. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. So this ship actually fights a lot like the Dreadnought. We're going to go in, we're going to broadside, we're going to use fire at will and target multiple enemies at a time. Again, I just picked this ship up, so I haven't really tweaked out my settings and everything yet. We use our weapon system efficiency bonus, which is really nice. The 25% power cost to your weapons really comes in handy when running all 8. We use the same thing on the Dreadnought, which I forgot to mention, I think. Oops, and I hit that too early, but one of the things I'm not sure on, I do like the ability here, is now I have access to a gravity well, which comes in really handy to bunch up targets for my other abilities. However, it's a forward-facing weapon when all my other stuff is side-facing. So you kind of got to fire it on the way in, then turn sideways and really bank on that. Of course, the phaser lance is also a spiral phaser lance there is also a forward-facing weapon. That was kind of a waste on him, but see our lance here. One shot at him. Nice. Oh, that's quite the fleet behind me. Turn around. Turn around, ship. Alright, we'll get right down in the middle of them. I think I was too far away and I fired that. Kind of a waste, but So you get in the middle, you throw this up, and you just sit here. And get hammered on, apparently. Wow. We're gonna get out of here. Don't normally take that much damage. I guess I shouldn't have been in the middle of all of those. That was a bit much. We survived, though. That's what matters. The big thing in this, I've been playing the Dreadnought earlier, so that's kind of my difference. This one shells out, I think, a bit more damage than the Dreadnought, but at the same time, it is a bit more fragile. So it's a trade-off. Definitely can't play it the same as I do the Dreadnought. Oh, we're right in the middle of them again. Takes forever for the impulse engines to come back online too sometimes. Again, the ship is surprisingly fast and maneuverable for its size. I could probably get away with pulling that turning console off. So I could definitely do more tweaks to this. Like I said, I still need to get an intelligence officer to make use of the intelligence ability I got. Used to have that bonus too that gave me extra damage for being closer to my opponents. I keep forgetting I don't have it on anymore, so I keep getting right on top of things and I don't need to be. That's pretty much it there. You get a feel for how the ship works. As I said, it's more maneuverable than you would think a ship of this size. Decent amount of firepower. Definitely having a good time working on this one and building things up. It's currently my favorite ship to fly. I need to get some cosmetic parts on here. I'm not big on the color, but I can't find a setup I like to change it. So going to have to do that through appearance equipment. Probably the Romulan shield or Riemann shield, whatever one it is. I really like the way that looks. I think that's what I have on the Dreadnought. But anyway, that's a look at the Cardassian Keldon Class ship. I got plenty of other ships in my fleet. Going to be going through them and showing you guys what I got. Some are completed. This one's definitely the most completed ship I have. A few of my other ones are very early stages, so they need a lot of work still, but I thought I'd share. And definitely, as anybody who follows my attack wing stuff knows, the Cardassians are my favorites. I made this character as soon as I got enough money saved up to buy my first Galer, and been using him ever since, and he's pretty much became my main. He replaced Osiris in my Galaxy Dreadnought, though I will still admit that the Galaxy X Dreadnought is my favorite ship in all of Star Trek, but definitely the Cardassians are my favorite race, and they have my favorite characters throughout Star Trek too. So anyway, thanks for joining, and we'll see you in the next video.